This is the Berman Method podcast featuring Dr. Jake Berman and physician assistant Jenny Berman. We are here to treat problems and not symptoms. Disclaimer, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and not to treat anyone or to give medical advice. If you are interested in any information that we are giving and would like to use this for yourself, we recommend that you contact your primary care physician or reach out to us and ask us questions about yourself specifically. Enjoy.
And we are back, baby, with a baby in Jenny's arms with the Berman Method podcast. Dr. Jake Berman here with my co-hostesses.
Jenny Berman, physician assistant.
Walker Ryan Bermanator, drinking some delicious milk.
He's looking at you like, Dad, come on.
Jeez Louise. Lock it up, Dad. Cool. How's everybody doing? Great. Good question. Good response. I'm glad that this is an interactive thing and we're going back and forth.
We're doing great.
Yes, we're doing great. Really good. Treating problems, not symptoms. David going against Goliath. Goliath being the corporate medical system. Big pharma. Health insurance. Holy cow. The amount of frustration I'm hearing with people trying to battle their health insurance companies in the past few weeks, it's just astronomical. The tides are changing. People are getting smarter, and things are going to change. They have to change.
It's true. I think I revised an invoice for a client 6 times last week, and finally I was like, that's all I got. I can't do anything else. That is all I've got. Their job is to deny you. And every time we send in this invoice, they're going to come back with something else that they need and something else that they want. And this needs to be different. And you can't have 12 codes. You can only have 4 codes. But then that 4th code doesn't cover what needs to be covered. Like, it's crazy.
I just went through the same exact thing with one of my other clients that I really, really cherish. And we got halfway through one of his programs, one of his packages, and he wanted to submit halfway through just to get the process going. We went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it got to the point where I was like, listen, I cannot spend any more time on this. This is the reason why we don't take insurance. It's because if we did, we would have to have at least one full-time provider just battling health insurance companies, revising codes. And we're just not going to do it. Like, that is literally their job, to deny.
Well, and then it gets to the point that you start like, I had to say, look, if I make any more changes, I could be up for like fraud against, trying to figure out a way around the system. I can't do that.
Same exact thing.
So
not doing it. So anyways, on a better note, a higher note, holy cow, what a 2 weeks it's been. So we're talking about this 2 weeks later just because of the nature of recording these things. But man, we had a really fun week. Started off with going to Austin, Texas for one of our quarterly mastermind meetings. That's where the location was this quarter, Austin, Texas. So we're out there 2 weeks ago. And it just so happened to be the weekend of the Final Four, which the Florida Gators were in. And come to find out, I didn't know my Texas geography. The Final Four was being played in San Antonio, Texas, which is only about 80 miles away from Austin, Texas. So we're there for this business meeting. And I'm talking to Jenny. I'm going, we're skipping the meeting and we're going to the Final Four.
And I was like, Jake, we're here for a business meeting with networking with our business entrepreneur friends. We came all the way to Austin, Texas, left our children to network. And you want to go to a game.
And make business decisions. On how to make money, not spend money.
Right. And you want to go to the Final Four in San Antonio.
So I end up saying, okay, we're not going Saturday. until the Gators won Saturday. Now they're playing for the national championship Monday, and I'm going, oh my gosh, we're supposed to fly out Monday into Atlanta so that we can drive to Augusta to go to the Masters practice rounds Tuesday and Wednesday. And I'm going, wow, talk about first world problems. What am I going to do?
We're supposed to fly out Monday night, land in Atlanta, watch the game on TV, drive to Augusta, and then we had tickets to the practice rounds Tuesday, Wednesday for the Masters, and to network with some other golf people of yours.
Yeah.
On more business decisions.
Yeah. So this was a giant
dilemma,
a week full of business decisions that was interrupted by the Florida Gators
going to the national championship, basketball national championship game.
So I talked with my business coach, been my coach for almost 10 years now, right after the Gators won Saturday night. I'm like, this is the situation. This is what it's going to cost me to buy tickets to the national championship. This is what it's going to cost me to buy different tickets to fly into Atlanta first flight Tuesday morning so that we can make it to Augusta for our tickets Tuesday. And he just looks at me and he goes, and?
What are you asking me? He was like, what's your question?
He goes, you're not buying these tickets for a 3-hour game. You're buying these tickets for a lifetime of memories. And that's the return on investment that you should be looking at. So long story short, I end up buying tickets to the national championship. Jenny and I we Uber to San Antonio Monday. And a fun side note, our brother-in-law and his nephew, his son, end up getting last-minute tickets there, so meeting us there. And the Gators win the national championship.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome.
So it was one of the best returns on investment that I've ever done.
Especially because you haven't stopped talking about it.
2 weeks later, here we are. So we Uber back to Austin and pretty much go straight to the airport. No sleep at all. Get into Atlanta. Go through rental car hell trying to get a rental car. Oh my gosh. If you've ever rented a car from Routes,
don't do it.
Don't do it. Oh my gosh. I'm publicly saying this. Talk about the worst things you can do in business. I don't even know how they're still in business. They didn't do anything right. I mean, it was just a disaster. There was not a single happy customer in that place.
There wasn't.
It was insane. Absolutely insane. So anyways, we get the rental car, drive to Atlanta or to Augusta, have an amazing day, zombified Tuesday, walking around the Masters on zero sleep, essentially.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys understand. We literally had zero sleep. We got back into Austin in our Uber around 2 a.m. We had to be on the shuttle bus to the airport by 3:45 a.m. So we literally got to the hotel, took showers, and got dressed to go back to the airport again, and went to the airport and then flew, to Atlanta. So that's kind of the summary of that no sleep.
Yeah. And this is actually, sleep is going to tie into what we're going to talk about here in a couple of minutes after I finish boasting and bragging about how amazing of a week that we had. Again, we're kid-free. This is first time being away from Walker.
This was the first time being away from all three kids with just the two of us in almost 5 years. With just the two of us. Like where we weren't with another group of people.
Yeah, a friend, like an adult's trip type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun, connecting with my beautiful wife. It was so amazing.
It was well needed. I encourage it for all couples to just take a solo trip without children, without friends.
Yeah.
It's necessary. We should have done it before 5 years.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That was a lot of fun.
But yes, first time leaving Walker.
Yep. So there we are, walking around like zombies Tuesday at the Masters, taking it all in. We got tickets from one of our really good dear friends, Daniel, who's been a Ping rep for a very long time. So he's the one that ended up getting us the tickets. And it was absolutely amazing. We went Wednesday to the par 3 contest. and the par 3 contest. Holy cow, talk about an amazing experience. All the players walking around with their wives caddying for them, chasing around their little kids and toddlers and babies.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about a really human, down-to-earth experience, 10 feet away from Scheffler and Justin Thomas, and just sitting on the ground playing with their kids.
Yeah, it was really, really cool experience. Really cool to see real people. I mean, on TV, you just see, I said to Jake on Tuesday when we were at the practice rounds, I was like, it's amazing to see these players actually talking to each other and being friends, because when you watch the Masters on TV or any golf tournament on TV, you almost think that the players are enemies to each other. Like, they don't show on television any of the interaction or friendliness between the players, but they really are friends. They are teammates, especially, like the American ones. So it was really cool to see that side of it.
Yeah, super cool. And the last thing I want to say about this before we get into sleeping is the Gators winning the national championship and McIlroy winning the Masters is 2 examples of never, ever, ever give up. Mm-hmm. Like, never give up. So the Gators, when they played the national championship game, they only led 1 minute and 6 seconds of the entire game.
Right.
Of 40 minutes, 20 minutes in the first half, 20 minutes in the second half, the Gators only led 1 minute and 6 seconds. 17 of those seconds was in the first part of the game.
Right.
So they essentially did not lead at all until the last 45 seconds of the game.
And then won it.
And won the national championship.
Right, right.
That's just an example of never, ever give up. Just keep chipping away. Just keep chipping away and keep yourself in the game. You don't have to be winning the whole time. Just keep yourself in the game so that you can make a move.
And knowing that progress is not linear. I mean, the progression that the Gators had throughout the national championship game was not a linear progression to getting up and winning the game. I mean, they were at one point down by 12, I think.
At least
12. Before they came back and won the game. So progress is not linear. Never, ever give up. Know that as long as you have the focus and the discipline, you can still always come out on top.
Exactly. And the same thing for McIlroy. I mean, how many times did he try to win the green jacket? I think it was 17 or 11 or 17. Don't hold me to that stat. It was at least 11 times that he came up short and didn't win it. And this was the last big major win to complete his career Grand Slam, and he just kept getting kicked in the face, punched in the face, kicked in the gut, and just couldn't pull it off. And this tournament was a perfect example of it, where Justin Rose led the first 2 days, and then out of nowhere, McIlroy and DeChambeau have this ridiculous day on Saturday that puts him in the lead. And then Saturday, he starts off horribly with a double bogey on number 1, but then bounces right back. Then has the worst shot of his life on number 13. Should be a chip shot. Any professional golfer on that stage should make that 100, I think it's 100 yards or 125 yards, should make that shot 99.9 times out of 100. And he duffs it right into the water, shanks it. And I'm going, man, I can do that. But then he kept chipping away until it came down to number 18. And all he had to do was sink a putt that, again, professional golfers on that level will make 99.9% of the time out of 100. And he pulled it. Has to go into a playoff. Ends up being Rose in the playoff in the first hole and wins the Masters. And it was one of the greatest accomplishments, he says, of his entire career. And those were actually his words to his daughter. Never give up. Never, ever, ever give up on your dreams. So there's 2 really good examples. We had an amazing week. We learned a ton, made a ton of business connections, met some really amazing people. And one of the people that we actually met in the bar after the Masters on Wednesday. Yeah, so after Wednesday, we went to not the bar, sports bar to eat.
Yeah.
But we're sitting at the bar.
We were sitting at the bar. It was a restaurant. Yes.
And these two guys come and sit next to us. And super long story short, he just starts talking. Start talking about business and what Jenny does. And sleep comes up. And he goes, I haven't slept good in 20 years. And that's where I wanted to tie all of this into, is because one of the best, I'm going to paraphrase you, I'm going to talk for you for a second. One of the greatest positive side effects to doing a program with you, Jenny, is that sleep improves.
Correct.
There's a lot of people that don't realize how bad their sleep is until they start working with you for gut issues or autoimmune disorders or whatever it is. And then ultimately start reporting, my sleep is so much better.
Right. Most definitely. And that was the first thing I said to this guy at the restaurant. I said, I'm not going to sit here and treat you right now. I'm off the clock at the moment. But my one tip for you to take away from our conversation right now, right here, that you can start doing over the next 4 or 5 days until we can talk again, is to eat more protein. And I actually asked him first. I said, let me guess, you eat one or two meals a day. And he was like, you're absolutely right. I'm watching my weight. 1 or 2 meals. That's all I can handle. And I said, there's your sleep problem. You're not eating enough. You're not eating enough protein to stabilize your blood sugar, to help cortisol control, especially being a business owner and having a high stress job. So for the next 4 to 5 days, focus on eating protein every 2 to 3 hours, and we'll talk again Monday. And that's the most common thing with sleep issues, is even those who come in for gut issues, they're not eating enough because they're afraid to eat, or they don't know what to eat. Or if they're coming in for weight management issues, they're trying to eat less, especially calorie dense meals, so that they can lose weight, and you're just not eating enough protein to stabilize blood sugar and cortisol levels. And sleep has such a big impact on so many things. I mean, we saw it Tuesday when we didn't sleep nearly enough Monday night into Tuesday with the traveling. We not only, obviously we were exhausted, but we were craving, we were hungry, we were grazing all day long. It seemed like all we did on Tuesday was eat the whole day.
Well, the Masters made it easy. I mean, come on, the chicken salad sandwiches and
yeah. So, but sleep does, it impacts so much. It's your body's ability to regenerate healthy cells. If we're getting adequate restful sleep, we can regenerate 330 billion cells a night. Your body's made up of cells. So we have the ability of regenerating 330 billion. Like, what does that number even mean? It's a big number. But if we're not getting that restful sleep, we're regenerating unhealthy cells or not regenerating cells at all. We're either regenerating the antibodies that our body's fighting against, injuring the immune system, causing autoimmune disease, increasing the risk of cancer cells regenerating, or our body is just worn out because we're not regenerating the healthy cells. It affects our brain fog, mental capacity, our patience, our dopamine and serotonin, which are our happy upper hormones, our blood sugar, our appetite.
And something as simple, not easy, something as simple as just increasing your daily protein uptake can positively affect that.
Most definitely. Especially, there is more to it, of course. You have to have that protein intake balanced with the right carbohydrates and fats, so your total macro count. But the one focus I would tell you right now is, am I getting a lean source of protein every 2 to 3 hours? And it doesn't have to be animal-based protein. We can use the plant-based yogurts. We can use dry roasted edamame. We can definitely use vegan and vegetarian alternatives if you're not somebody that just loves to eat meat all day. But focus on protein within an hour of waking up in the morning, and then every 2 to 3 hours throughout the day.
And the ladies are the ones that have the hardest problem with this, because they usually come in eating less than 50 grams of protein a day. And you're like, listen, you've got to get 100. I'm paraphrasing right now. You got to get 100 grams of protein in a day. You just have to. Mm-hmm. And they're like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to do that. And the biggest battle is the psychological component. especially with women. They think that if they consume that much, that they're going to gain weight. And I, to an extent, was guilty of this myself just a few years ago. We've talked about this on the podcast multiple times, where when I transitioned from being jacked, ripped, nasty, shredded, and not having to work for it at all, I could eat whatever I want. I could eat 15 cookies in a 2-minute spurt. I could eat a whole pizza and still just be shredded. Once I got into my early 30s, that started to slip away. I started getting a little fluffier around mid 30s, 35, 36. And I'm going, what the hell, man? I'm still working out the same hard, not the same hard. I was working out hard, doing cardio, and I was getting fluffier and fluffier. So I just started eating less. My portion size got less and less. And it wasn't until Jenny finally forced me to put a CGM on, continuous glucose monitor, where I could see it in real time, where my blood sugar was staying high. And you're not going to lose weight when your blood sugar level is staying high. Until I forced myself to eat a significantly larger portion of protein and veggies for dinner one night, and my blood sugar comes way down, and I'm going, what the hell? This is like double. This is like double what I thought was the right amount of a serving.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is, if you don't know what you don't know, and you can't figure it out by yourself. And one of the biggest contributors to poor sleep is not enough protein intake. So one of the simplest, not easy, one of the simplest things that you can do is try eating more protein every 2 to 3 hours.
You got it.
Like it?
Yes.
Good. Like, subscribe, share this episode with somebody that you know does not sleep well, and go Gators. Congratulations to McElroy on the Masters, and never, ever, ever give up.
Ciao for now. Thank you for subscribing on your social media and podcast platforms to the Berman Method. Dr. Jake Berman with Berman Physical Therapy and Jenny Berman, Physician Assistant with Berman Health and Wellness. You can find more information on our website, www.bermanpt.com for physical therapy, bermanpt.com/wellness for the health and wellness. You can also find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and on your podcast platform. So be sure to follow us, like us, subscribe to us. And if you would like any further information, definitely visit our website and reach out to us. You may also find our free reports on the websites as well, where you can download this free information for yourself. Have a great day.